So here we are, my friend Bryan. He just got out of jail custody recently. When did you get out of jail, Bryan?
Sunday morning, 9:30 or 9 o'clock.
And what did they arrest you for?
As a probation violation, failure to perform 90 days of Caltrans.
Oh, really? Okay. So why do they want to have you do 90 days of Caltrans?
They never told me to do the Caltrans, and I had appealed the verdict and the actions by the judge, and asked the judge to recuse himself, and he wouldn't do that. He just wanted to put somebody in jail for it was a 6-month sentence, 180 days, and it's half time, so you serve 90 days.
Yeah.
3 days time served, so I did 87.
And weren't you initially supposed to just do like a ankle bracelet or something like that? Something happened?
The original plea agreement everybody agreed to was 90 days with a GPS or house monitoring system.
Yeah. So why did all of a sudden the switch up?
When the judge, my legal aid attorney, wouldn't answer any phone calls or any motions or any of the legal responses, I filed a case in federal court, and I just had the judge and my attorney and the district attorney served a summons to appear in federal court. So they issued a warrant for my arrest, had me arrested and put in jail to prevent me from pursuing the federal case. So I have to refile motions with the federal case now.
So would you say this is somewhat kind of like a revenge against you or something?
The retaliation, revenge, yes.
Wow. So do you have any tail on you? What do you have to do now?
5-year probation. It's supposed to be informal, but again, my attorney hasn't answered any phone calls. So I received some appellate court assistance, it appears, and I have to fill out the paperwork for that and follow up on the federal lawsuit and report that they had me sent to county jail for, committed in county jail for 6 months.
Yeah.
Which turns you on 90 days, 87 days.
So what are some of the things that you saw in the jail as far as the treatment of people and the chains and stuff?
The belly chains, that was one of the worst things to see. The guys were put in shackles. It was just a chain system with handcuffs around the wrists, holding the hands at the waist, either in the front or just off to the side. A lot of them were just in the center, and then to the side. And they would be put in that for trips to medical, so they could be in there for 10 hours just to do a video monitoring interview. Some of them up to 15 hours just to go to court. In court, they're kept in rooms that are artificially cold, so there's no way to keep warm. They can't lay down, they can't rest. And they would have lines on their wrists from the bottom, like this much, and it looked like suicide lines, where somebody had taken a knife and cut all the way around the wrist, and sometimes they'd break the skin.
Wow.
And those would last anywhere from 12 to 48 hours. One elderly gentleman, he slipped, and the deputies stood him up, which they did it quickly, like forced him up to the wall, and injured his hip, and that's taken 2 or 3 months to heal. Wow. Some of the younger guys, the same thing, they report having pain for 3 to 5 days after going to court.
Wow.
Just because of the restraint position that they have to stay in. They certainly can't go to the bathroom or cleanse, take proper care of themselves. And it's pretty humiliating to be in those. And it doesn't necessarily keep anyone safe the way that it says they are. If somebody is there for traffic tickets or DUI, then they're suddenly a target for somebody who's there for real reasons, who possibly should be in chains, and now they can use those chains to fight. Guys still did fight with the shackles on, headbutts or elbows. So it didn't stop any kind of violence per se. And where deputies could usually just stand 10 feet back and order an inmate to go somewhere, now they had to get in close proximity and actually physically engage each inmate
Yeah.
before taking them out, so they'd have to wrap something around the inmate's waist and spend a considerable amount of time, like I said, within proximity, which I felt like that actually put the deputies at risk, because before they could, the deputies would just stand at the other side of the section and order the inmate into the section and then over to the next door without approaching the deputies at all.
Yeah. Huh.
Another thing was that, and Doug Chaffee would always talk about how they're providing mental health care, and Todd Spitzer says they're providing mental health interviews. They're not. There's patients that have been there for 30 days who aren't receiving their psychiatric medications. There's one case of a gentleman who has cancer and he's bipolar, and they didn't provide his medication until the last few days, and even then they still didn't give him the proper medication that he was supposed to be taking. The inmate message slips, the form of communication, they're not provided, so it's almost impossible for inmates to actually secure the services or to ask for the services that they're being denied. So it's easy for inmates to get stuck. I'd see a number of fights because two inmates were together who shouldn't have been together.
Yeah. How is the food?
The food's terrible. There's no real food there. It's for lunch 6 days a week it's bologna. One day is hard-boiled eggs. The breakfasts are things like SOS, chili rice. You get pancakes one day a week. You do get canned fruit and like peaches and pineapple, and you get oatmeal or cream of wheat. The cereals are good, the fruit's okay, but the rest of the breakfast items aren't really edible. The beans, red beans, black beans, white beans, or pinto beans.
Yeah.
And just in their own water, so it's not really food. There's soy food and hamburger, and none of it's like real food. I got the heart healthy diet, so I got egg whites, which was real egg whites, and I would eat those like in slices of bread or in tortillas.
Yeah.
I ended up buying peanut butter, and that was my staple. I'd have peanut butter and jelly. That would be the meals that I would eat, and the egg whites. I stayed away from the bologna. I didn't eat that at all while I was there. I did try and eat all the other food, but it really disagreed with me, and I wasn't able to maintain it. Once I started eating like the turkey, the Thanksgiving Day dinner, that was really delicious. It was real turkey breast, real stuffing, real mashed sweet potatoes, real vegetables, some cranberry sauce and some sweet rolls. That was a real meal. And after that I realized that there's a noticeable difference between the artificial food and the real food.
Oh yeah.
So I just, for Thanksgiving on, I didn't eat any more of the jail food pretty much.
So did you lose some weight?
It looks like I lost a bit.
Yeah, you look like you lost a lot of weight. That's what I thought when I saw you. Reminds me when I used to get arrested for preaching in Las Vegas, and I remember those chains. I had those same chains going to court for the long hours, and also the food. I remember losing weight. Every time I come out of jail, I was a lot lighter.
Yeah, now my cellmate, he ate everything. He was a heroin addict, and so he was, DTing on that.
Yeah.
And he ate all my meals, so he did put on weight.
Wow.
Like, it was noticeable. People were making
He must have
fun
loved
of him
you.
after 60 days of being or 50 days, they were
Yeah.
making fun of him.
Wow. So were you hungry a lot in there?
A little bit. I kind of just tried to work out and read and write. I did a lot of writing.
Yeah.
And I'd hedge my meals, so I'd always have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Yeah.
With Raisin Bran.
Yeah.
And they had some Fritos that weren't too spicy, the barbecue Fritos.
Yeah.
And so I'd have that at night.
Oh.
I kept a carton of milk in the refrigerator.
Yeah.
Which is the sink, just filled with cold water. That way it'd stay cold all day and it wouldn't get warm.
Yeah.
And then I'd have maybe like chocolate chip cookies, or they give you some really good crunchy cream cookies.
Yeah.
And so I would save those and have those for dinner. Whereas most guys, as soon as they get their lunch, they eat those right away.
Yeah, yeah. Wow.
And then you have a little snack late at night. It's a little bit easier to get some sleep. But
Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah, it's tough. I've been there.
The other thing is like they slam the doors.
Oh, that doesn't help.
And so some of them, like in the middle of the night, they come through just slamming the doors.
Yeah.
And when I talk to the deputies, like anyone who are retired, they don't want to talk about jail. And they say that for the rest of their lives now, they're always like traumatized by hearing that door, like when they're just trying to sleep, or if they're waking up in the morning, or just they'll hear that door and it'll shake them.
Wow.
And so those doors don't need to be slammed. They've been broken before. The guy slammed them too hard. And two, for the inmates, especially if these people are in there labeled with mental health issues, they need to get a good night's sleep from 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. every day. Instead, they're constantly being waken up, and their food tray slots are being opened up, which is like bam, bam.
Yeah.
And then they're slammed, bam, bam. And that could all be done. There's deputies that have figured out how to open them without making noise.
Yeah.
If you put your key in and turn it, then you can close it without making any noise.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, now they give all the inmates a ID card.
Yeah.
Have you had an ID card?
In Vegas, I don't remember if they give us ID cards.
It's like your driver's license, but it's a hard. You know how the ID.
Yeah.
Like
They didn't give us a card. I don't think so. Not in Vegas anyway.
These are like maybe twice as thick as a driver's license. They're rigid.
Really?
But you can use that to open any door in the jail. And so, like from your cell door, you can actually open your cell door from the inside with your ID card. If you're outside the cell door, it's easy. You can just open the. So they've given all the inmates keys to the jail doors. So every inmate has a key to every jail door in the jail. And anytime, and I've seen guys do it, they get out and so, as far as how did that guy get out and start beating up that other guy? Oh, well, you gave the inmate a key to the door. And so the inmate used that key to the door to get out and get in a fight or do something with, or hurt another inmate. So ignoring medical treatment, ignoring petitions, not having the paper and the message slips for inmates to communicate.
Yeah.
And then just angry deputies who are, slamming doors or who write inmates up for nothing.
That sucks. Wow.
Because if you're locked up and then they keep you in your cell or on your so it's not so as good.
Do you need any help?
No.
Okay.
So sometimes it's the authority figures aren't always respectful of the inmates. So they'll try and start a fight. If somebody's having a tough time, they'll escalate it rather than try and
diffuse it.
Rather than try and diffuse it.
Yeah. Wow.
So a lot of the problems in there are deputy initiated. So the deputies are having a tough time, and rather than remain calm, they create a problem.
Wow.
The other basics are not having clean clothes. You get an issue of clothing and it has to last you anywhere from 1 to 3 weeks or a month. So I was fortunate, I got a fresh new pair of boxers right out of the bag the first week, and socks, same thing, right? And I washed those every other day the whole time I was there. But the outside clothes, they call them your smocks or your covers, they're like a canvas, a little bit more difficult to clean. And at that point they should just give everybody a pair of khaki pants and a dress shirt, so when they get out they have an outfit that they can wear to go to get a job or go somewhere, rather than end up back on the streets or end up freshly on the streets because they've lost their connection.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it's a hard situation. Anything else you wanted to share?
Real quick, the mental health, while it's gotten a lot better, its primary function is to find people who are having trouble dealing with it and then give them pills so they're medicated, so the courts can just say and do what they want to do to the person, not to help anybody cope with it. So if somebody's there complaining about something, they're not gonna help with the deputies or with the courts if somebody's a victim.
Mm.
You know, they'll allow that person to be a victim, and they'll give them pills to cope with being the victim, rather than speaking out on behalf of an inmate who's possibly a victim of the courts.
Okay.
You know, that they want you, report, but then when somebody's in there and they report, then that's ignored completely.
Wow, I've kind of seen that before in Vegas, I know too. All right, thanks for sharing, Brian.
Josh, please, thank you. Happy day.
Thank you. So there you have it, folks. This was Theo Lacy, right?
Yes, sir, Theo Lacy.
Yeah. So a little information from the inside there. But please pray that people, I guess, get the help they need in there. Some of them need help. I'm sure that there's some that maybe don't even belong in there. Let's just pray that true justice prevails in every situation. And thanks for your prayers and support. Please do like, subscribe, share. Join Homeless Advocates for Christ on Facebook. Pray for the mentally ill, for the homeless. A lot of times they belong in some kind of housing, not necessarily jail or, you know, those types of things. But they end up in there because they get warrants for sleeping outside, getting tickets for sleeping outside, or things like that. So thanks for your prayers and support again, and hope you have a great season here this winter. Stay warm and pray for those that don't have housing. Thanks again. God bless. Bye-bye.